ready to dive deep.
Oh.
Today, we're tackling Nietzsche.
And Nietzsche, yeah.
Specifically, his Thus Spoke Zarathustra. And we're going beyond, the surface level stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
To grapple with some of the more challenging ideas, even for seasoned
Nietzsche fans.
Nietzsche fans, exactly.
Right.
And it's interesting, we're doing it all through a Spanish translation.
Yeah, it's like looking at a familiar landscape through a new lens.
It adds a whole other
dimension, a certain poetic flair, I find, to the translation.
So Nietzsche, right off the bat, he hits you with, God is dead. Which...
Bold move.
Bold move. We know it's a metaphor, but still it's like, whoa. It's not just about religion, though, is it? It feels bigger than that.
It's about, the foundation of our values,
exactly.
Our morality. Where do we find meaning, if not in that traditional sense?
Right, because if God is dead, then...
What then?
Then what then? Exactly. And that leads us to his idea of the Übermensch.
The Overman?
Superman, Overman. Yeah. We know it's not about,
capes
and superpowers, but it's such a loaded term. What's he really saying?
It's about human potential.
Okay.
Pushed to, the absolute limit. Zarathustra, who's, basically Nietzsche's mouthpiece in all this,
right,
says man is something that shall be overcome.
Overcome. Okay.
And he's not talking about, some external force doing the overcoming. It's about self-mastery.
So it's an internal process.
Exactly. Pushing beyond what we perceive as limitations. And the engine for this force, it's what he calls the will to power.
Will to power.
Yeah.
It's another one of those phrases that I think gets easily misinterpreted.
Misconstrued, yeah.
People hear will to power and they think, domination, like brute force.
Right, but that's really not what he's getting at. He sees it as this fundamental force that drives all living things to strive, to grow, to overcome even.
So even something like a houseplant.
Exactly.
Reaching for the sunlight. That's will to power.
There you go. That's it in action.
That's a much more nuanced way of looking at it than I think a lot of people realize.
It's not about power over others, but power from within.
Okay, I like that. So how does that tie back into this idea, the Übermensch?
Well, the Übermensch, they embody this will to power in its purest form. They define their own values, not based on what society dictates, but on what they find life-affirming.
So they're not looking for, external validation.
No, they're creating their own path, their own values.
Forging your own path, though.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, is it?
No. Nietzsche, he doesn't shy away from the struggle.
Definitely not. In fact, he kind of emphasized it with his idea of was eternal recurrence.
Yeah, eternal recurrence.
That one always messes with me.
It's a mind bender.
It really is. This idea that you'd have to relive your life.
Every single moment.
Exactly as it happened. All the good, all the bad.
The joy, the suffering, all of it.
Would you sign up for that? Knowing what you know now? It's a tough one.
It's a thought experiment, really, to make you pause and evaluate.
Living the right life.
Exactly. Are you living in a way that you'd be happy to relive endlessly, or would you be filled with regret?
And I think that's where this idea of really, wringing it all out of life comes in.
Living authentically, embracing every moment.
Because if you had to do it all again, wouldn't you want to make sure it was a life worth repeating?
Exactly. And this is where that Übermensch comes back in. Because for Nietzsche, the Übermensch wouldn't just, tolerate eternal recurrence. They would embrace it.
Wow. So they're not just okay with reliving their life. They would actually celebrate it.
They would see the beauty in it, the struggle, the joy. It's all part of the tapestry of their existence.
It's like they're saying, yeah, I lived my truth.
Precisely.
But okay, let's be real. Most of us, we're not quite at Übermensch level. At least not yet.
It's an aspiration, right? Not a destination.
Right. But there's another concept that I think really resonates with people, and it feels very relevant to the conversations happening today. Master and slave morality.
Ah, yes. Master and slave morality.
Such loaded terms.
They are, but they cut to the core of how we form our values.
So break it down for us. What did Nietzsche mean by master morality?
Well, for him, master morality comes from a place of self-creation. The master, they determine what is good based on their own internal compass, not on what others tell them.
So it's not about following the crowd.
No. It's about forging your own path, even if it means going against the grain.
And slave morality, that's kind of the opposite then.
In a way, yes. Slave morality arises from resentment. It defines good and evil in reaction to the master.
So it's almost like they're defining themselves by what they're against.
Exactly. Rather than what they're for.
And that can be really limiting, can't it?
Absolutely. It can trap you in a cycle of negativity and resentment.
Whereas master morality is about, like, empowerment.
Yes. It's about taking control of your own life, creating your own values.
Okay, I see the difference. But, Nietzsche, he wasn't just a philosopher. He was like a poet, in a way.
Absolutely. He knew how to use language to pack a punch.
Like that scene with the tightrope walker.
Ah, yes. The tightrope walker, right from the beginning.
The very beginning. You're hooked. It's such a vivid image.
The precarity,
Yeah.
the danger.
And the crowd below, watching. It's hard not to feel that tension.
And that's what Nietzsche wants. He wants you to feel it, to feel the risk, the uncertainty of existence.
So the tightrope walker, that's us, right? Humanity.
Trying to find our balance in this precarious world.
And the crowd, are those the people who just, like, watch life go by?
Perhaps. Maybe they represent those who are too afraid to step onto the tightrope themselves.
Take risks.
Exactly. But Nietzsche, he's urging us to be brave, to embrace the uncertainty.
Because that's where real growth happens.
Precisely.
And speaking of growth, we can't forget about the three metamorphoses: the camel, the lion, and the child.
Ah, yes. The three metamorphoses. A classic Nietzschean image.
It's like a roadmap for personal transformation.
It is. It's a journey of self-discovery.
So the camel, let's start there. What does the camel represent?
The camel represents the first stage, the stage of burden, of carrying the weight of tradition.
All those shoulds and oughts.
Exactly. We're weighed down by the expectations of others.
I'm not even questioning where they came from.
Right. But then comes the lion.
Okay, the lion. That's a powerful image.
The lion represents rebellion, the courage to break free from those burdens.
To say no more.
Exactly. It's about finding your own voice, even if it's scary.
It's like that moment when you realize you don't have to live by other people's rules.
Precisely. But, and this is important, the lion is still defined by what it's rebelling against.
Okay, I see. So it's a necessary stage, but it's not the end goal.
Right. The final metamorphosis, the true transformation, comes with the child.
The child.
The child represents innocence, playfulness,
Yeah.
a fresh perspective on the world.
They don't have all the baggage of the camel and the lion.
Exactly. They see the world with new eyes, full of wonder and possibility.
From camel to lion to child. That's quite a journey.
It is. And it's not about, actually transforming into these creatures. It's about what they represent.
Right, they're like stages in our development.
Exactly. And that final stage, the child, that's where Nietzsche wants us to end up.
Embracing that childlike wonder, that creativity.
Precisely. It's about looking at the world with fresh eyes, without all the baggage we've picked up along the way.
Which I think brings us to some of those really memorable passages in the book, like the Song of the Night.
Yes.
It's such a different tone from, some of the more forceful parts of Thus Spoke Zarathustra.
It's quieter, more introspective.
Exactly. And it made me think about how Nietzsche, he understood the importance of solitude.
Absolutely. That time alone, it can be really valuable for creativity,
Right.
for self-discovery.
Finding your own inner light.
Exactly. And the Song of the Night, it also reminds us that it's okay to not have all the answers.
To sit with uncertainty.
Yes, to embrace the mystery of it all.
Which feels very relevant today, don't you think? I mean, there's this pressure to have it all figured out.
All the time.
But Nietzsche's saying it's okay to not know.
It's okay to be in the dark sometimes. In fact, that's where some of the most interesting things happen.
It's like those moments when you least expect it, and
Yeah.
suddenly you have this breakthrough.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of Nietzsche. He speaks to these universal human experiences, the search for meaning, the struggle to find your place in the world.
He doesn't give you, like, easy solutions.
No easy answers, but he gives you a new way of looking at things.
A challenge.
Exactly. A challenge to question your assumptions, to create your own values.
To become the artist of your own life.
Oh, beautifully put.
So as we wrap up our deep dive here, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from Thus Spoke Zarathustra?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's the idea that you have the power to define your own life.
Yeah.
You don't have to accept the values or beliefs that are handed to you.
You can question everything.
Exactly. And you can create something new, something
Yeah.
meaningful, something that reflects who you truly are.
It's about embracing that will to power we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. And using it to craft a life that is truly your own.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining me on this Nietzschean adventure.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep. We'll see you on the next one.